Oh, yes! Hello, I'm jrpg, and welcome to my mostly comprehensive walkthrough of Final Fantasy VI. Why mostly comprehensive? We'll get into that in just a bit, but for now, I just gotta tell you, I'm insanely excited to play this game. We are in full-on masterpiece territory, and this is my personal favorite Final Fantasy game, and possibly just my favorite game, period. It's easily one of the best JRPGs ever made, and certainly in the conversation for one of the greatest games ever made regardless of genre, so without any further ado, let's jump right in. Long ago, the War of the Magi reduced the world to a scorched wasteland, and magic simply ceased to exist. 1,000 years have passed. Iron, gunpowder, and steam engines have been rediscovered, and high technology reigns. But there are some who would enslave the world by reviving the dread destructive force known as magic. Can it be that those in power are on the verge of repeating a senseless and deadly mistake? Vic says, "There's the town." And Wedge replies, "Hard to believe an Esper's been found intact there, 1,000 years after the War of the Magi." Vic says, "Think it's still alive?" Wedge says, "Probably, judging from the urgency of our orders." Vic says, "And this woman, this sorcerer, why is she here?" "I heard she fried 50 of our Magitech armored soldiers in under 3 minutes." Wedge replies, "Not to worry. The slave crown on her head robs her of all conscious thought. She'll follow orders." "We'll approach from the east. Move out." Oh, baby, it's seriously like a movie. It's like a AAA Super Nintendo game, but in this case, AAA is actually a compliment. Anyway, while the opening credits play, I'd firstly like to mention that I have several other video series on Final Fantasy, so if you're a fan of those games, you can check those out via the links in the description. So let's talk about what kind of series this will be and why it's going to be only quote-unquote mostly comprehensive. If you're new to my channel, I play on original hardware for SNES games, and I always try to show and do everything possible in a game and talk about everything I know about it. And I will, of course, be doing exactly that in this series. I thought I knew a lot about this game, and while I definitely do, in doing research for this walkthrough, I actually learned quite a bit, and I really couldn't be more excited to share what I've learned with you. So why only mostly comprehensive? I have 2 words for you: the Velt. We will not be getting every single rage, and because of that, we will also not be getting every single blue magic spell, for reasons that I'll explain in more detail as we progress. In short, this will not be a perfect save file, but to elaborate without spoiling anything, completing rages in blue magic is locked behind too much grinding and RNG to be worthwhile, at least to me. That being said, we will be hitting the highlights of those abilities and making a reasonable effort to fill in those ability lists. However, aside from the 2 I just mentioned, we will be filling out all the other skill lists, getting all Magicite, doing all side quests, getting all optional cutscenes, getting the best gear and relics, finding all hidden treasure, discussing various glitches and exploits, and achieving the best ending. And yes, you heard me right. If you didn't know, because neither did I, this game actually has multiple endings, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Finally, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. This is just a small channel, and it would really mean a lot to me, and it lets me know that you'd like to see more videos like this one. But we are just about to the mountain town, so let's get started. Let's put her on point. No sense in taking any risks. Forward. And so the first thing you'll notice is that this is no longer just straight up high fantasy. It's sort of a steampunk world, and it's really awesome and a really great fit for the series, so let's get in there. First thing we're going to do is hang a right, because there is an extra fight over here that you don't actually have to do. Machine riding, self-important swine, take this. And so this is our first fight. We have all these different options for things that the Magitech armor can do. We're just going to use Fire Beam, because why not? And you'll notice that in the battle screen here, there's those bars on the bottom right that slowly fill up. That is the representation of the active time battle system that is used in this game, first invented in Final Fantasy IV. Imperial Magitech armor, not even Narshe is safe anymore. And yeah, that's right, we are here to just gas the citizens. So let's use a Bioblast. But I really like this sort of change for the active time battle system because you can actually see it filling up. It just happening behind the scenes, you know, is a really great idea, but being able to observe it visually is really, really nice. And as we continue through town, more guards are going to defend. Narshe's freedom depends on us. But unfortunately for them, Magitech armor is a bit of a game changer when it comes to the power structure of this world. Basically, no one can resist this. Like, these defending forces are pathetically weak compared to us in these mechanical suits. And I find that this is just such an incredibly strong opening for this game. It's very, very show, don't tell. And as you'll see a little bit later, having the player personally commit this atrocity has emotional ramifications that I think are well thought out. It grants an emotional resonance that is well earned. Let's keep going. We've got him trapped now. And so this is our introduction to the pincer attack. Final Fantasy IV had things like back attacks and surprise attacks, but there are a couple of different, how do I want to say this? Like, I don't know, this is a battle organization where we can be in the center, and if you're facing away, you take extra damage, like you're being back attacked. It's really cool. But we'll see those as we go along through the game. And our nameless girl gained a level, that's always nice. But let's keep going, we gotta take that Esper. But the guard says we must defend the mines. And they already know what we're after. Yep, we'll just use Fire Beam because it's quick. You do want to make your decisions quick, although the default has it on wait, so when you're kind of menuing, the enemies will wait to take actions. You can turn that off to give yourself a little bit more of a challenge. But I leave it on just because it's the default, and I feel like it's probably the way most people played this game. And we're just gonna gas everybody. That's what we do. You have something we want, so we're here to just gas you all to death. It's, pretty excellently evil, I would say. And while we're on our way, one thing I should mention is Vix and Wedge. That should actually be Biggs and Wedge. Speaking of, Wedge says, according to our source, the new frozen Esper was found in a new mine shaft. Maybe this one. So we'll go check it out. So Vix should actually be Biggs. And the reason for that is that it is a reference to Star Wars, of course. Two of Luke's Red Squadron wingmen were named Biggs and Wedge, and this is their first introduction to the series, and they became a running joke through this series. Basically, Biggs and Wedge are in every Final Fantasy. Now, it's not Final Fantasy without them. It's like Sid. They're just series mascots. To my left there, that blinking thing is a save spot, but we're not going to need that right now. Let's just keep on going. I'll handle this. Stand back. And just like that, he crashes through and the way is clear. But the guard says we won't hand over the Esper. Welk, get them! And Vic says, hold it. Think back to our briefing. Wedge says, what about it? Vic says, do you recall hearing about a monster that eats lightning? And Wedge says, and stores the energy in its shell. Right, so whatever you do, don't attack the shell. Wedge says, all right already, let me in there. Now, you shouldn't attack the shell, but that's not entirely true, and I'll show you in just a sec here. If we just use Bolt Beam, just in case the head goes into the shell, but our attack is still queued up, it will actually heal the shell. So it's just a safe option to pick every time. But this is another tutorial fight, and here it's going to happen exactly like I was just talking about. And since we're just sitting here, we can just Bolt Beam the living daylights out of the shell. But because it heals it, it doesn't register it as an attack. So, it doesn't do the counterattack, which is nice. At any rate, this tutorial fight, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the first time they did this was in Final Fantasy IV. It's at least the first time I know about this specific fight, and that would make sense because it's supposed to teach you about the active time battle system. That just because you have an attack queued up doesn't mean that the enemy won't do something, and maybe mess up what you were trying to do. It's gonna cast slow on our nameless girl. But we should have no problems here. Oh, we didn't manage to kill it this round. Okay, well, we have plenty more time here. It's kind of tempting to just attack it to show the counterattack. All right, this tech missile ought to do it. There we go. Down goes the whelp. We completed our first tutorial boss battle. And man, is this music sweet. Coming off of just having played Mystic Quest, it's so nice to be back to Uematsu's music. Oh man. That Esper's gotta be in here somewhere, right? Yeah, we'll just use fire beams. Why not? And I will start cutting out redundant battles at some point, but I think for this opening scene, it's fine to leave them in. I do really enjoy using the Magitech armor. It's fun to use, and it just feels powerful. And what do we have here? This is the frozen Esper. Wedge says, hey, what's the matter? Do you know something we don't? frozen creature began emitting an eerie light. Wedge says, where's that light coming from? Ah! And he disappears. Vic says, hey, Wedge, where are you? What's happening? And we wake up somewhere else. Now, a fun theory is that Vix and Wedge got transported to the Chrono Trigger world right there because they show up in that game, and I like to think that's what happened. So let's talk to this guy. Where am I? The old man says, whoa, and I only just removed the crown. My head hurts. The old man says, easy, this is a slave crown. The others had complete control over you while you were wearing it. And the girl says, I can't remember a thing, and the old man replies, don't worry, it'll all come back to you, in time, that is. A mysterious young woman controlled by the Empire and born with the gift of magic. And her name is Terra, and we're gonna go with the default names, but a fun fact here is that her original name was Tina, but they thought that was too much like an ordinary name, so Ted Woolsey, the translator, went with Terra, and I think that's a very reasonable choice. So let's name her Terra. My name is Terra. The old man says, impressive. I've never heard of anyone recovering this fast. But unfortunately, they're already onto us. The soldier says, open up. Give us back the girl and the Empire's Magitech armor. The soldier yells, open this door. We want that girl. She's an officer of the Empire. Terra says, Empire? Magitech armor? The old man says, look, I have to get you out of here. I don't have time to explain. The classic no time to explain. Over here. Now, we could follow him, but we're gonna try to go out the front door like the idiots we are. The soldier says, open this door. We want that girl. She's an officer of the Empire. Yep. And check the clock to find this elixir, and let's get out of here. The front door does not seem like a good option. The old man says, make your way out through the mines. I'll keep these brutes occupied. And of course, as we cross this bridge, we get spotted. She's up there. But we have no choice but to keep going, so let's do exactly that. Oh, this music is just so good. Now we can try out our magic. Let's go ahead and cast a fire spell on both of these. Now it's worth keeping in mind that ordinary people can't do that. Kind of just Terra can. Which is part of the reason the Empire was so interested in here. There is another save point, but we won't need that. Now, one thing I want to mention is that we're going to leave these chests behind, as tempting as it is to open it. This one on the right would be a Phoenix down. And, of course, we end up in a battle. Let's just cast another fire spell. Why not? I could use attacks, but I'd end up using the same amount of MP anyway, because I'd have to use Cure to heal, so I think using our unique skill for right now seems good. And we gain another level. Isn't that nice? And the chest over on the left is going to be a sleeping bag, but we're going to leave those because we'll be back here later. And the chest will be upgraded by that point. They're literally just giving me vaporites. That's kind of interesting. Fortunately, we can take them out very easily in one round. All right, let's keep going. Got her, a voice calls out. And uh-oh, we are trapped. And of course, we fall through the floor, and that is not good. That looks like quite a drop. And understandably, Terra is rather injured from that, but it jogs her memory just a little bit. Kefka says, my sweet little magic user. With this slave crown, I'll practically own you. And so we're remembering the moment the crown got put on, which is good. It's a step in the right direction. But I certainly don't like this Kefka character, if he's the person who put the crown on her head. Kefka says, wee good. Burn up everything. I like to think of him as having, like, the Amadeus laugh. The laugh that Mozart does in that movie. And I think you'll see why in a bit. Emperor Gastal says, we stand on the brink of a major breakthrough. In the days to come, we'll witness a total revival of magic. It is our destiny, and ours alone, to take this mystic force and claim what is rightfully ours. With our newfound power, nothing can stand in our way. And if that one-armed salute to you looks like a Nazi salute, it should. That is a deliberate reference, I would say. Hurrah! Long live Emperor Gastal! Yikes. So that's the Empire, and these are some seriously bad guys. The old man says, took you long enough. How goes the robbing and plundering trade? And he is, of course, absolutely shocked by this baseless accusation, but oh man, do I love this character. Here we go. Treasure hunter and trail-worn traveler searching the world over for relics of the past. It's Locke. Oh man, I love Locke so much. Let's go. Locke replies, I prefer the term treasure hunting. The old man says, ha! Semantic nonsense. Locke says there's a huge difference. Anyway, were you the one who sent for me? The old man says, yeah, there's a girl I'd like you to meet. Locke says, huh? This better not have anything to do with that Magitech riding Imperial witch. The old man says Imperial troops are pursuing her even as we speak. This town is no match for the Empire. Our independence can only be assured if we join forces with the Returners and underground resistance movement. That girl wasn't responsible for her actions. We must get her to understand our dilemma. All right, I think we'd better help her. The old man says agreed. Make your way first to Figaro and talk to the king. And he drops in and does a superhero landing just like he should. But we are not out of danger yet. now we gotcha. And that's a lot of enemies. Locke says, wonderful. There's a whole bunch of them. And we hear a strange sound. Coupeau. Locke says, Moogles, are you saying you want to help me? And yes, they are. And this is not the first game Moogles were in. Coupeau, they cry out. That would be Final Fantasy III. But they became a big series mascot. The Moogle says, use us to save Terra from the guards. And we will do exactly that. Let's say yes for the more information, just to sort of get a picture about what this is all about. So you'll fight using 3 different groups. Press the Y button to switch between them. Your job is to defeat the commander of the guards before his men reach Terra. Save her, or else. And so what that ends up meaning is that we've got a little bit of a tower defense game on our hands. So let's go ahead and get our defenses set up. This is what I like to do. It's a little bit slower this way. You can just go rush in there and confront them. But while we're waiting for them to come over, Locke is going to be part of the thief job class. Here comes our first fight right now. And so this party is all Moogles, and we're just going to use attacks with all of them. That is a really powerful attack. You don't want to see that, but there's not much you can do about it. And fortunately, you can't actually game over in this if you lose a fight. You can only game over if they reach Terra. But what I was getting at is, we'll see right now, Locke has the Steal command. And we can talk a little bit about the Steal command while we're just mashing attack here. I never like the Steal command in basically any game. I find it just really frustrating to use. And not like, I don't know, a particularly fun game mechanic, but it's a classic and it's in lots of these games. How it works is each monster will have 2 slots that can carry items. One slot holds the item that you'll most commonly see being stolen, referred to as the common steal. And this one's got Mog in it. And we'll see why that matters in just a moment. At the end of this fight, he's going to learn a dance, and we'll talk about dances in a second, but first I'd like to finish talking about stealing. So you've got the common item, and then you've got the rare steal. So when Locke steals, he has an 87.5% chance of going for the common steal and a 12.5% chance of going for the rare steal. If either of those slots is empty, it will be ignored in the decision, but it won't, like, improve your chances, if that makes sense. So to get that rare steal, before the calculation is done, you're already looking at a 7 out of 8 chance of missing. So basically, it's really, really rare. If you'd really like to get deeper into it, the success rate formula is 50 plus Locke's level minus the target level divided by 128. So improving Locke's chance to steal has a lot to do with leveling, but we will find some items that will help him out with that a little bit later on. So now that we're executing Mog's dance command, let's talk about dancing. Mog will learn a new dance per different fight background. So we're in this sort of cave area, so that's why he learned Twilight Requiem. How that one's going to work is he has a 7 in 16 chance to cast Cave In, which will remove 75% of the target HP, a 6 in 16 chance to cast Snare, which he did there, which will kill a single enemy and prevents final counterattacks, interestingly. 2 in 16 will be Will-o'-the-Wisp, which is a crazy powerful for this point in the game fire elemental attack. And then 1 in 16 he will do a Poison Frog, so you'll pretty much never see him do Poison Frog. However, because I said that out loud, he'll probably do it the very next time. But that will be a Poison Elemental attack, which will poison the enemy. Now, I believe we've killed all of the grunts coming at us, so it's time for the final confrontation. Now, what I'm going to attempt to do here is steal from this guy, just to use the command and sort of show you why I don't really like using the steal command. I mean, most people understand how it works. But, you know, it's Locke's special ability, so we're gonna use it. All right, let's get in there. But the boss here has something that I want. And what we're gonna need to do in this fight is be careful not to kill both of the dogs. We would like to kill one of them for sure. But we're gonna do a lot of defending. Wow. And we may end up losing this fight. Wow, that worked right away. So we got the mithril knife. That's what I wanted. And now we're going to leave the Lobo for last because the Marshal will start doing a really powerful attack if we kill both his dogs. We're going to throw that mithril knife on and let's attack. Now, the way I could have gone about this was to unequip the mithril knife from Terra so I could put it on Locke. I could have also taken her shield, but I prefer not to do stuff like that. Just because, while this is supposed to be a very comprehensive walkthrough, I like to not do cheesy things like unequipping people when I know a particular event is going to happen. I like to sort of preserve the nature of playing the game for the first time as much as I possibly can. Down goes Locke, but he'll be all right. This boss fight is no joke. But we did it. And Locke's totally fine. Look at him. Thanks, Moogles. We're in your debt. We most certainly are. Moogles are great. I like them. And we're going to carry Terra out of here as quickly as we can. And Locke, being the treasure hunter that he is, knows all about secret switches and passages. So he says, I think this switch will somehow magically open that pile of rock. Locke says, hey, you back with us now? Terra says, you saved me? Locke replies, save your thanks for the Moogles, and he is right about that. Terra says, ugh, I can't remember anything, past or present. You have amnesia? A man said my memory would come back. Locke says, give it time. You're safe with me, I give you my word. Terra's like, Locke says, I won't leave you until your memory returns. By the way, the secret entrance might be useful someday. Don't forget about it. And we will commit that to memory. We'll put that in the old back pocket. But we've seen Locke do a couple of things, like his sprite anyway. The finger wag, the pose he did just there. The sprite work in this game is just amazing, and we're going to see a lot of that coming up. But I've been flapping my lips quite enough. I think we're good to call it an episode here. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Final Fantasy Friday.